The ModernJeeper Show, the show about Jeeps, Jeeping, and Jeepers.
Well, hey, Modern Jeepers, this is another episode of the ModernJeeper Show with me, Matson from MetalCloak, and Mr. Modern Jeeper, Corey Osborne.
Hey, buddy.
Hey, Rockstar Jeep Girl, Jessy.
Hello, how are you?
I am good. How are you guys? And more importantly, where are you guys?
That's a really
In the
good question.
States.
We are in Indiana. We just crossed the border, heading towards Pennsylvania for Topless for Tata's event. Been on the road for a couple of days now. What an interesting, the country is still very unique.
Mhm. It's a nice word for it.
Yeah, unique. There are just some places that I don't understand why people live there, but they do, and it's all good. It's just been very interesting. We are plagued by we seem to be in this tract. There's a bunch of weather following us.
Mhm.
In fact, when we stopped yesterday, which was on the other side of St. Louis, it basically said that if you were going to continue, you were going to get flash floods and everything was going to get washed away. We didn't really. I think we
Wow.
got some rain at the hotel, but we didn't get any flash flooding.
But the day before that, we were in Kansas and we got rained on with the same storm. Got up in the morning, followed it out, stopped. Now we're following it again.
Yeah, it just seems to be raining on our little parade.
Yes.
Corey and Jessy,
And it's
storm chasers.
it's not bad. It's not burning hot. That's what I like.
Is it a little humid though?
It's very humid though.
A little humid.
Yeah, sticky.
Little humid. We had an interesting yesterday. So alongside us on the interstate, 4 lanes, we're almost to St. Louis. And we think that somebody shot a gun at us.
Oh my gosh.
It was
How
kind of
convinced.
loud. And I thought, well, but it could have been a backfire. It kind of sounded like a backfire. And we looked at the truck. Nothing changed. There was no warning lights on the dash, but we could feel the pressure from the boom. Well, nothing happened. We drove about 10 minutes and it was even louder. Bang! And like literally you could really feel the pressure. I had the window down maybe about that far. And
Yeah.
like literally I'm thinking, okay, we either just lost a tire, the truck is eating itself to death, something has obviously exploded.
It was kind of strange, actually.
So it's getting later in the afternoon, so it's between 4 and 5 o'clock. There are cars everywhere, and there was this kind of a hoopty looking car that was driving alongside us, but that was after the first boom, and I thought for sure that car probably backfired. Well, I never saw that car again, and after the second time, I was sure that car had to have been gone by then, but literally I drove for another maybe 20 miles because we couldn't get out of traffic. There wasn't really a good place to pull off in the middle of a city, and pulled over at a truck parking area and like did a full inspection of the truck,
No
checked
bullet holes.
tire pressures on everything. Couldn't find anything wrong.
The truck didn't stutter.
Truck didn't
nothing.
Nothing was wrong. We ended up adding a little bit more air to the trailer tires, but other than that, I don't know. It blew. I thought for sure we were gonna die.
Did he jump out of his seat, Jessy?
Yes. And we immediately looked at each other, and that was twice. We're like, oh my God, what is this?
I was waiting for there's having to be some kind of a warning light to come up on the dash. I thought
Right.
maybe that we lost the turbo in the truck or
Bad
something.
gas or something.
Wow.
And
No,
nope. And
didn't
we
miss a
haven't
beat.
heard the sound since. So
It's a mystery.
we stopped a number of times yesterday to just kind of check things. Odd.
Weird
I don't know.
feeling.
Just
Just weird.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, when you're
That's
going
interesting.
all the way across country, that's smart because you get down in the middle of no place. But you're in Indiana now, so it's not really the middle of no place.
Yeah, we're just outside of Indianapolis. In fact, I think the airport must be close because there's a lot of air traffic above us. But yeah, it's again, we haven't traveled this far since Jeep Beach.
Yeah, since April.
Yeah, so
wow,
a lot can change in 3-4 months in this country.
Right. Yeah, we won't get political
I mean,
today,
there
but,
has been a lot of people getting shot on the freeway, so
a lot of stuff been happening all over the place. Last 24 hours has been incredible, but we won't get political today. I promised myself I wouldn't get political today.
yeah,
there's a lot, and of course, it's a shout out, and I know, Matson, you've already posted something about it. I saw it on your personal page. The death of Olivia Newton-John, all of like America's sweetheart, right? I mean, I actually have a quote in my where our bedroom is, in between the bedroom and when I go upstairs into my little office area, on a dry erase board. And it's a quote from Olivia Newton-John that I wrote. She did an interview, like, I don't know, it's been maybe a year ago now.
It's been up there a couple of years, yeah.
And it just says that I'm grateful, I'm happy, and I have so much to live for. And it just struck me. And I wrote it on that dry erase board, and it's been on there for a year. And then to hear of that yesterday was just...
Well, I knew that she was fighting some breast cancer and stuff for years, so that ultimately is what happened. So it's such a loss, and a nice lady for sure. I grew up with her, so.
Well, yeah, and I, like I said on my Facebook post, she was my first, my first movie crush.
All of ours, I think.
Yeah, right. I mean, and then. But what an interesting life, because she when you come out and you have a movie like that, and she wasn't an ongoing. I mean, she had an acting career, but she was obviously a singer, and they brought together a cute singer with who was, I think she was late 20s,
29. She was 29. Yeah.
You think about that for a second. Travolta was like 23, she was 29, and they're both playing high school students. Right.
And she was very concerned about it. And then it was John Travolta who convinced her that she should play the role.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, my high school sweetheart looked like that. Yeah. All right. They made high school students
just goes to show you
days.
that women are more mature than men. And
in all aspects of life. It's true.
I don't know about that.
But yeah, she just was, and I still remember seeing that movie for the first time. And I still remember, I lived in a house in LA, where it was my mom and me in one room. This was like a large house where people rented rooms. And my best friends were two twins, Raymond and Lucas, and lived with their mom in the room next door. And then there was a kind of a mother-in-law's house behind the place, and then there were several big rooms like that, and there was lots of people. It was like this, for all intent purposes, it wasn't really like a halfway house type place. So it was more of just where in LA we rented the rooms. That's all we needed, and we lived there for a year and a half, I think. And I just remember Raymond and Lucas and I, after we saw the movie, we had the soundtrack. I got the tape, and we just like running around the house. I think it was probably 8 years old, running around the house, singing the song, doing it all memorized. We were just, it was fun. But what an interesting impact that movie had on culture. And then for her to go from that into the critically panned Xanadu, right, and then kind of with her
Let's get physical.
Let's physical. Well, yeah, which was that was great, because a lot of guys fantasize in that one, because it's still a great song.
I remember getting in trouble on the bus to school because the girls had a Walkman and we were singing the song. We didn't know.
Right.
We were just singing the song.
It was a song about working out. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah, didn't she invent leggings and spandex?
Right.
Anyway, yeah. So shout out and prayers to the family, the Newton-John family. But yeah, she definitely was a bright star in a otherwise interesting world. I had a conversation with my guys on Friday about this, and this is something that I think we touched base last week on with the summer ad. and that was this idea that there is a lot of shit going on in this world around us, and and I think it's part of our job in our life. We know that in the industry we're bringing happiness. When you're out there meeting people who are Jeeping, that is a happy time in their life. Doesn't matter what else is going on in their world. When we're Jeeping, we're bringing happiness. For all those that are listening right now, like, I hope we're bringing you some happiness when you listen to us. And you guys definitely bring us happiness, the fact that you are listening to us. But I'm reiterating to my guys, it is our job at MetalCloak not to simply sell product. It is our job to bring happiness. When a customer calls us, they better be happy when they get off the phone. And I don't just mean because they were happy because they got on the phone or it's a problem, make them happy. I'm talking about, we want to give, for lack of a better word, we want to give a good phone. I mean, you want somebody to have a good time and enjoy calling, enjoying being a part of it. You have a single moment in time. At that moment, you touch a customer to impact them, and it's infectious. Happiness is infectious, and if you make somebody happy with laugh and smile, I think back to the Robin Williams movie where he played a doctor. You remember that? He played a doctor. Patches. Perfect. Yeah. I couldn't remember the name of it, but Patches played a doctor, and he had that same philosophy. Like, if he can go and make somebody laugh, it's going to brighten up their day, and it will affect those around that person. So making one person laugh, making one person happy, making one person realize their dream affects dozens and hundreds and thousands of people, right? It's a rippling effect. The exact opposite is true as well. You're ornery, you're in a bad mood, you say something you maybe regret later to somebody, it's a ripple effect.
Or smile at a stranger that's not smiling.
Exactly. Hold the door open for somebody. Smile at a stranger. Laugh. Go in the middle of a store and just start laughing.
It's always interesting when we're out on trails, and Jessy and I did some amazing pre-running new trails that we're going to run this year for our Colorado adventure, the San Juan adventure. But it's always funny to me when you do come across, every once in a while, it's not very often, but you'll run across those angry people in the outdoors or and typically they're not in a Jeep. Typically they're in some other form of recreation vehicle, and they're not happy. Yeah. or the guys in the side by side or something like that. And it's always interesting when they're angry, and I always, like, you drive away and you just kind of shake your head like, what are you guys doing out here? What's the purpose? If we're out here trying to enjoy the outdoors and you're not happy, you should probably find a different hobby.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Like, to find a different place to be. Here's the challenge when people are ornery, pissed off. It actually is it is harder to get out of that than it is to, it's very easy to be happy and get pulled down than it is to be sad and angry to get pushed up, right? Because gravity keeps pulling you down.
Takes much more energy to be angry, that's for sure.
It does. It definitely, it's draining. It takes energy. It's draining on all the people around you, because everybody around you is going, oh man. And so all of a sudden you get this psychological impact of just being around negative people, and that sucks, right? But being happy and being the one that walks in the room and just like lights up the room, and just, that is a gift. Most people don't take advantage of it. But
I think that's why we have these social media platforms, right? Where we've talked about this in prior shows as well. Where things like Facebook has become a little bit more filled with some drama and maybe some negativity, and you can't really post anything anymore without somebody, bringing you down in a way. Instagram has kind of followed that trend, but Instagram used to be the place where you could just post a picture and it was all about what a cool picture. Right. And then now I think Instagram is now kind of backtracking, going, yeah, we need to make it more like it was. But I think that's why you had the successful things like TikTok and those things where it's fun. It was a fun place, a feel good place to go. And the negativity that we get from regular media, whether it's the television or however you get your news and all of that stuff, I think it's a huge draw, and people need the release. They need to to be able to be happy about their daily routines, even if they're not. It takes, again, it takes all that energy of being negative away. Ugh.
Yeah. And there is enough negativity around our lives that we don't necessarily need to have our hobbies be negative too, right?
Right.
So if you're you're out there on the side by side and your hobby is making you angry, find another hobby.
Yeah, you should do something different.
Yeah.
I mean,
anger counseling.
Right. I mean,
being the actual counselor.
I've had this conversation with people about, I've always been very good at making my hobbies and turning them into work. And while I love the Jeep life and the industry, and it is my whole world, what's my hobby? I tell people my hobby is to take pictures. And that's really my hobby. Is Jeeping work? Well, yeah, but that's the way I make it. It still makes me happy, but it's different, and we need to find that space that exists in our head that allows us to still be creative and be that person that we see in ourselves, rather than some of the other options, I guess.
Yeah.
Options.
Well, we all have our dark sides, and it's putting our dark side back into the cabinet and locking it up and throwing away the key. That's the trick. That's the trick. And you know what does that? Happiness. Being happy.
Jeeps make me smile. There you go. Jeep should make everybody smile.
Absolutely. That's a great, that should be a great bumper sticker. Jeeps make me smile, or a t-shirt. Yep. Another t-shirt design coming out of the Modern Jeeper group. Jeeps, Jeeps make me smile. Jeeps bring happiness.
Remember there was some shirts made a while back, and they were like the stick figure family, and it was life is good. Those guys. And then I'll never forget, I saw one, and I think it still exists out there, but it's like a smiley face. But the smiley face has like an unshaven face. He's got like some
a little scar on it,
and a little. I think he's wearing like a bandana or something. Yeah, that whole.
Does he still stick figure if he has all those features?
I don't know. I think he was just a face.
It was just a face. But it was the rugged man happy face.
The outdoor life.
How do you do that on a stick figure? I want to see this.
Or there's the stick figures you see on the back of cars, where this is an example. The stick figure thing's a little happiness, right? A little moment, somebody showing their family or whatever in their car. Then you have some guy who's just an ass who puts the stick figure being run over by a car going through, the family flying all over the place.
Yeah. People gotten hit, or there's like a shark eating the whole family, or something like that.
Right. There was a positive spin on that once, where I saw somebody said, used to say, I don't care about your stick figures or your stick figure family. And then it says, nobody cares about nobody cares about your protests or something. This was during the BLM riots. Like, okay, I can see that kind of spin. You can definitely stand up. Speaking about running things over or going fast.
Oh no.
Have you seen this? It's kind of cool. I brought it up on the Instagram live this morning. For those who don't know, you can check us out at Matson, me at Instagram/MetalCloak. I do the mornings with Matsonian. Not every morning. It's kind of like I didn't do it yesterday. I did it this morning. And it's just a little morning commentary. If I see some news, if I don't have anything cool to say, I don't even bother doing it, because I don't want to just get out there and say, "Hi guys, Matson from MetalCloak here. Let's talk about fun stuff." Hi, my name's Bobby.
Don't use that voice, because you sound like a creeper.
No,
you're like a creeper.
That's my creeper voice.
No, he needs to watch Napoleon Dynamite and deal with
that. But some dude back in Ohio, because we're actually near your neighborhood state now.
That's right.
Built a monster truck. It's the first Jeep Gladiator monster truck, and it's called Bad Habit. Now he's had the Bad Habit team for a while, and this isn't part of Monster Jam and all that whole world, because that's a whole different ecosystem, right? These are just good old boy monster trucks that go out and do big arena shows or whatever. But Bad Habit has been around for a while. Bad Habit already holds a world's record for the biggest jump of a monster truck. Then he went ahead and built this Gladiator, which basically means that the chassis is the same. It's the same monster truck chassis, big ass engine, whatever. But he managed to build a monster truck body or a Jeep Gladiator body to go on top of it. So it's pretty cool. You guys can Google it, Bad Habit Gladiator monster truck, and we'll put some links in it for you. But the guy, Joe Sylvester, just broke the Guinness World Record for the world's fastest monster truck at a 101.84 miles an hour. 101 miles an hour in a monster truck.
What is death wobble like at 101?
Death wobble,
right? Gotta be just scary.
That's like, well, have you ever seen? So my kids started watching these YouTube videos. Somehow they discovered these YouTube videos on the big screen TV that aren't just like, it's not just, it literally is somebody taking a game, and it might be something like GTA or whatever, 5 or whatever, but they're taking the games. And in these games, and I don't know this gaming world, so if anybody out in our audience knows this, you can tell me how it's done. But literally the game will have like a big giant ramp out in the middle. I mean, literally the ramp looks like it's in the sky. It's 5 miles in the sky, and it has a ramp, and it has a bunch of other stuff. And then around it are a bunch of vehicles. And every vehicle has a character, Spider-Man, Thor, whatever, the Hulk. Mm-hmm. And then it was their turn, they get in it. And so it's all being done and recorded kind of the same way we're recording this, right? It's being recorded, and then they take it and then they turn it into a YouTube video. And they go on and start driving. Like they'll take the monster truck and they'll just start flying down this hill. And it's an impossible hill, right? It's an impossible track that can never exist. And it goes off, and then it tries to do a jump, and it hits into a wall, and it just explodes, right? The entire video is vehicles crashing. And it's just all it is. And it's pretty cool because it has really good physics. I mean, and the vehicle falls apart, and you see a drive shaft flopping around, right? And you see tires flopping off, and it has really good physics and really good understanding as how they built these vehicles. They're not just frames. They actually are not just like this wireframe cover with color on it. It actually has frame. It has a seat. It has all these little components, and they can. But literally, the kids will sit there watching these videos of cars just going down these impossible ramps, impossible jumps, and blowing up, or crashing, or rolling for 2 minutes down the side of a hill. But it's not like that's what they do. So it's interesting with it, like these guys in this world record, trying to do it. Just thinking what it would be like if you did go down, you're going 101 miles an hour and something snaps, or something gets off, or you get a little death wobble with that big tire. I've seen what that looks like. It was on the YouTube. Like it's not pretty. Parts go flying everywhere.
Yeah, a tire that size at 100 miles an hour. I mean, their tires have speed ratings for a reason. I'm not sure that's yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, how well balanced? What did it take to balance that tire?
Oh.
How often are those BTK tires really round?
Right, and I mean that wheel has to weigh at 400 and plus pounds, I'm guessing. Yeah, craziness.
Well, that's the world record now. 101.84 miles an hour in Ohio on a monster truck shaped like a gladiator.
Wow!
Wow! Yeah, it's kind of cool. Yeah. So I mean, I want one.
Well, of course.
Yeah, I think I turned mine into a monster truck.
Yours is a monster truck. I mean, we're talking about gladiators on 38s.
Right. Yeah. Like 42s, dude. If you're not on 42s, you're just not cool enough. Right.
Yeah, that's it's kind of been fun. So we mentioned a little bit about this our San Juans of Colorado adventure, and the entire time I had the LJ out there just because I didn't want to the Gladiator is more of our overlanding rig, but so I had the LJ, and Jessy brought her JL, brand new. That thing doesn't even have, it's got 1,000 miles on it, and all of the trails in the San Juans, if you know how to drive, you can take a stock rig out there. Is it as comfortable as a lifted rig would be? No, but when you know how to drive, I tell you what, the Jeep Wrangler Rubicon, brand new, is such a capable Jeep.
Totally.
It's any of the even the more complicated, quote unquote, tough trails in the San Juans of Colorado. That Jeep doesn't even blink an eye. and the creature comforts make it even
Awesome.
even more desirable. I mean,
Right.
hats off to Jeep. You know, you can get away with a little bit bigger tire and a small lift, and literally that thing's going to go anywhere you're ever going to take it.
Driver.
And it's super bright because it's that
Mhm.
high velocity yellow. So at nighttime, you don't even need to run your lights.
No. Or in the rain.
If you ever get lost, they can find you. There's a beacon.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. You just look for the where the glow's coming from.
Now there you go. That's what we should do. Glow in the dark paint. I'm sure somebody's done that. There's got to be somebody that
yeah.
did like did a whole glow in the dark
Or
paint thing.
even
Right?
Black
Even a
light.
wrap.
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm
black
sure.
light. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
Black
How do you
light.
drive under a black light though?
You have to have a
Where do you
halo.
do that? Yeah.
That would just be like a light following you.
How come nobody runs black lights on their Jeep?
Why does it have to be black?
I don't know. Black lights matter.
Black.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Hey, on another note, I just saw a picture forwarded over that Windrock has its first or its Jeep charging station in place.
Ooh.
Wow.
Yeah. So,
Interesting.
Isn't that-
and it looks like it's just sitting in a parking lot, and it looks like it's one of the toned down versions. It doesn't have all the extra paneling on it. It's a toned down version, like we saw over in the corner. But yeah, they've got their Windrock's got their charging station for the 4xe.
Well, Windrock is big enough of an off-road park that you'd need that.
Yeah.
Because you could spend quite a bit of time out there and cover far more than the 21 or 24 miles or whatever the all-electric mode is. But
Right.
yeah, cool.
Yeah, it's like, and what were we talking about? We were talking about doing a little trip with the 4xe. Aaron was saying that he would go do. Oh, I think he's going to try to bring it down to Sierra Trek. And this weekend, which is this weekend, those there's people out there already. Thursday and Friday and Saturday, mainly the event. Sunday on there, I'm going out Friday to camp with the kiddos. But Aaron's talking about like he'll drive up to Sierra Trek into the main road that takes you back to the lake, but then he's going to put it in electric only mode. See how far he can make it into the private property. Right. So
That's kind of. I mean, I really want to like. I like the 4xe. I like its concept. I think it's great. But literally, some of the things like that whole rear seat and the storage area in back there with the battery and having that be a different height of the floor of the storage capacity area, and then the weight. Those kind of things are just kind of a couple things that I'm like, that's gotta, over time, I'm sure that battery pack is going to get smaller, and then maybe that floor gets to be level again. Things will get lighter as the technology grows. But yeah,
that's the hard part with these things. Like, who is going to buy a 4xe? And I say this knowing something else, but who's going to buy the 4xe in 5 years, 10 years? Is it going to be have any sort of resale value because the battery itself, ultimately needs to be changed, or is just so old in technology? Now, my mom drove a 10-year-old. It wasn't a Prius. It was a RAV4, but it was still the same Prius technology, right? Toyota RAV4. It was 10, 12 years old, something like that, and it still did fine, and so that technology, whatever was sitting in that battery was enough. And was it great? No, but it did fine. I still gave her great grass mileage because of how it operated. So, so there may be people that will get it, but is it going to be one of these situations like you buy it?
Do you see a Volt or a Leaf or any of those? What happened to those cars? Did they just the manufacturers buy them back? Are they still out there? I don't see them.
They're gathering dust in garages. You're right, though. You're right. I mean, these programs that they basically end, and then, but it's okay because the federal government just passed $1 trillion bill that's going to give money, and it's going to increase the incentives so that manufacturers who can't make very good cars can make money on their not so good cars. Is that how it's supposed to work?
Oh,
But it
my
does
goodness.
mean you can get $12,500 or something like that. I don't know what on a 4xe. Like
Yeah, they're
I mean,
just giving. I mean, everybody's going to start getting all their. I don't know how many rebate programs are going out back where they're trying to give people back some money from taxes and everything else, and yet they're increasing the tax rate on large corporations that are making more than $1 billion or whatever it is. That's how they're going to pay for it all. But yeah, but we're not going to get political.
No. They're not going to. That's not how it works. They're going to get paid for by the 87,000 new IRS agents.
Right.
And,
Looking forward to meeting them.
Yeah, because some of them may be Jeep owners. Let's just let's be honest. It's 87,000 new people
to work at McDonald's, yet they're going to have all these people want to work for the IRS.
Well, that's going to be the McDonald's. I think that's what they're doing. They're recruiting like from places like McDonald's.
I wonder what the starting pay is.
Probably, for a starting federal position, probably 60 something. In that area.
And it'll be one of those jobs that you can never get, eliminated from. So you're in forever.
When you have a federal ID, when you have a federal employee ID. Because a buddy of mine was a cop in Livermore. He was in my Navy unit, but he was part of the 100,000 new cops program that the Clinton administration did way back when, right? So 100,000 new cops. They do 100,000 new cops. Well, he was one of the 100,000 new cops, which meant even though he was part of the Livermore Police Department, he had a federal ID, a federal employee ID. Because he was paid by the federal government, not by the Livermore Police Department. It was weird how they did that. But what that meant is that for the rest of his life, he could go get a job anywhere in the federal government with that ID, because it's pretty much guaranteed. You already have a federal ID. What do you want to go do? I'll go do this. Okay, cool. Just show up and go through the process. But yeah, you are ahead of anybody else who wanted that position if you already had a federal employee ID.
Once you start receiving Social Security, you should just get a federal ID.
You should. Well, I was going to say something, but I'm not going to.
Come on, I think this is a great idea.
Once you start receiving Social Security, you ever seen Logan's Run?
Oh, yeah.
Once you start receiving Social Security, we could save a lot of money, Logan's Run. But it's not 35-year-olds. It's 65-year-olds or 75-year-olds.
Right.
85-year-olds. Nobody needs to live to be 100.
I had a thought this morning, and it made me chuckle. And I know it's not Jeep related, and we'll get back there. But think about if somebody were to invent a way for us to actually sleep comfortably standing up. If we could sleep standing up, think about how small hotels would be.
So I think they have this in Japan, where you get.
I know they have those in Japan. What is it called?
The cocoons. They have these cocoons. You literally you wrap up, and remember they do it on the in zero gravity too, right? Where
like
they sleep standing up, and you just kind of like get held in. And
wasn't there a Seinfeld episode where like Kramer had some small Oriental folks living in a dresser or something, like in a drawer?
Oh no! Sounds like a great episode.
Yeah.
Small Oriental people, listen to you. Jeez.
Anyway.
Let's talk a little bit more about Jeeps. Hey, so I sent you a link to a commercial from Mopar. I want you to play that.
Yeah, let's do that.
Hi, I'm Jerry with Mopar. We're here today to talk about the new performance wiper blades from Jeep Performance Parts. The new JPP Performance Blade features 12 laser cut holes that feeds washer fluid from a bladder system so that you have 12 little rivers running across your windshield when it wipes. Therefore, a larger area of the windshield is cleaned, it's more efficient cleaning, and there's a substantial improvement on the first wipe. If you have an off-road muddy experience, you'll know the value of that. Even on the road, these performance wipers offer less visual disturbance. It comes with 2 Jeep branded sets of blades and is easy for the customer to install. So the bottom line is you get the washer fluid exactly where you need it, which is on the windshield. The new JPP Performance Wiper Blades are one of more than 500 quality-tested, factory-backed parts and accessories from Mopar's Jeep portfolio.
Wow.
Wow. So now I don't know if anybody else has anything like that, but that's pretty impressive. Like, how many times have you sprayed that and it's not, you get the stream like right in the center and it just, that's pretty cool.
Well, and if the nozzles anymore, most of those nozzles for a windshield wiper washing system, for the folks that are not able to see the video right away, this Jeep windshield wiper has nozzles built into the edge of the blade. I think he said there were 12.
Yeah,
along
12
the edge
laser
of the
cut,
blade.
laser cut holes.
Little laser cut holes, and then the water comes out of the actual windshield wiper blade as it travels across the windshield. So,
the wiper fluid, because
the wiper fluid.
You don't use water. I mean,
no, that would just freeze Colorado. That's interesting. I'm curious what a replacement wiper blade is going to cost.
I mean, they're expensive now.
Yeah, yeah. How long is that going to last? And I liked it. He said it even has, what he said, less visual impact when driving down the road. I haven't heard that description.
It's nice when you have all the mud, for sure.
For a muddy window?
Yeah, that's awesome.
Or even like in the middle of the winter when you're going down the highway and the guys in front of you are throwing up all the slush off the road and you can't quite get it off and it's not cleaning properly. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty cool idea. Now,
and they talked about it being user friendly, like an average consumer can install them. So I'm guessing some kind of a tee off of the hose that's already under our hoods, and then it just now that hose runs up to this wiper blade.
Yeah, because on the JK on the JK it comes, the jets come out of where are the jets coming out on the JK? Is it coming out? It's like a little right on the very top of the things, right? So and then on the JL, is it the same thing or is it coming out of?
Yes.
Yeah, they're the little in those little hood
the
little
the little hood latches. Yeah, there's jets coming out of that, right? So usually it's shooting the jets. So yeah, you must have to go in there, clip a little line, put a little T in, reline it. So you got to imagine your first kit is going to cost more because it has to call with all the extra lines.
Right.
Now here's the question: is that now going to be an accessory that you always have to buy aftermarket, or can you actually, when you're in there buying your Jeep, go, well, I want the new windshield wiper set up. I want them to set it up for me, right? And then what are the replacement blades going to cost if you already have the lines?
Yeah, I mean, I think a replacement blade right now is like $25 from Mopar. A pair of them's $50, $55 or something like that.
Well, that's about going rate. I mean, I just bought a pair of Rain-X for the RV, and they were standard size, but they're still paid $50, for a couple, right?
That's a lot more than they used to be, though.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, I wonder what the initial. I mean, is it going to be a $199 thing or is it going to be a $99 deal?
Right.
At $99, it's probably going to be a huge seller.
But how long do they last? I want to see that.
Yeah, well, probably. I think most windshield wipers are going to go a season, right? Even my Rain-X's, they last about a season. Properly, and then you go through an entire, especially out here in Sacramento, where it gets really hot during the summer, and you don't use them at all. They just. And then, of course, you make the mistake when you want to use them for the first time in the winter of not going in and disconnecting them from your windshield, like letting it, and you just turn it on and then rip off. Because it turns out that when you do things at an angle, they kind of rip easy.
Yeah. Just tears the rubber off. And then you're like, wow, those just aren't as effective as they used to be with that one little hangy piece of rubber that just flops around.
And you wonder why you have this nice little line going across your windshield now from the metal. Yeah. So it's a cool little thing. I mean, there's I don't really pay attention a lot of Mopar's products are coming out, but I got to give them kudos for that one. I think that's
it seems, and I think, I'm not sure if we talked about this during the last podcast or not, but we did notice, I want to talk a little bit about the Gorilla Glass again. We're still seeing more cracked windshields in Gorilla Glass. Now, I'm wondering if that glass it's kind of like that grade 5 bolt versus the grade 8 bolt. The 5 will bend, whereas the grade 8 is so much harder. It wants to snap kind of thing. is the Gorilla Glass so much harder that it actually cracks easier, but it takes more of an impact. I don't know. I'm really curious. After Jessy, got the little rock chip, and it's an interesting chip when that
It was
Gorilla.
a big one because it was loud.
It was a big rock, obviously.
Yeah.
But on a regular windshield, the fracture is typically very sharp edges in a little star, right?
Right.
On the Gorilla Glass, it was just kind of a long crack with a wave, in the glass itself. And so when we had that repaired, they inject basically, I don't know, epoxy or glass, right? It's molten glass, liquid glass. They shoot that into the crack to seal it up, and it's still interesting because you can still see it. So the repairs look differently than a regular star, which sometimes they just, they can fill and you can't even tell it was ever hit.
I can still tell.
Interesting. So I'm wondering if you would imagine they have a special repair for Gorilla Glass, right? I mean, you would assume.
I know that they're under quote unquote warranty, and it's very specific in the warranty for the Gorilla Glass on the size of that. It has to be like a quarter size, and if it's smaller than that, they're not going to replace your windshield. If it's the size of a quarter, they will replace it. If it's bigger than a quarter, then they're not going to replace it. Like it's
really weird.
It has to be this big and do this, and then they'll
somebody can determine if they're going to do it or not, basically.
Wow.
And then I'm sure there's a waiting period where, we can't get Gorilla Glass right now, so we'll get that fixed for you in 6 months. By that time, the little star is bigger than a quarter, and then they opt out of replacing it for free.
Well, it's interesting. It's interesting you say that about the glass, because I think we've talked about it here before. But there is truth to the fact that your glass, your standard windshield, has a certain amount of deflection to it.
Yes, it's a laminated piece of glass.
Right, and when a rock hits it, there is a certain amount of deflection where it absorbs that hit. Right, it's not so rigid. And partly it's because of it's glued in, right? It's glued in. It's not like held in rigidly, right? There is some deflection that happens with the overall way it's put into place. But so most likely you'll get a little star, or you get a little, however you use your typical little chip happens, and that does not most of the time turn into a big crack. It's just a little chip on your windshield. But the glass guy that comes out here and repairs our glass, he loves us because he's constantly replacing Jeep glass. He explained to me, and there used to be a company that actually had a product for this years ago, but that when it hits in the black area surrounding the glass, it's much more rigid in there. There's no deflection capability, and so when it hits there, that's the area that usually starts a crack.
Oh, right.
It makes big chunks out of it.
Yeah.
So you get a little tiny crack, but because there's no deflection in it, little rigidity, it's more rigid. It starts cracking up, and it starts building your long-term crack. That then
those are the worst ones for sure.
Yeah. And so there was a company, he said years ago, that made basically a piece of plastic film that only went around the windshield, like it only went over the black area. And they provided protection for it. It didn't last, whatever. Maybe people didn't buy it or whatever, but it was a way. If you protected that area, theoretically, you'd have a lot less cracked windshields, because it would, you could protect that particular area that's getting hit as opposed to the entire glass.
Well, I know that it's very interesting reading some of of course, everybody's a genius on Facebook pretty much. And some of the comments, even in some of the forums, have been absolutely hilarious about, no, I heard it straight from Mr. Gorilla himself that it's got double the lamination of a standard windshield. And the next guy says, no, they're actually heat treated. They actually put these through a heat process. No, that's actually dipped. They dip these glasses in a process that makes them stronger. And oh my goodness, it's just kind of amusing to me where everybody has an opinion on the strength.
But let's talk about how expensive the labor is to put it in, because I found out you can get, and I'm sure it's just a stupid thing that I didn't know, is you don't have to get the adaptive cruise control. So if you don't, it doesn't cost as much. to get the glass replaced.
Yeah, they have to calibrate.
But if you do, then it's going to cost you quite a bit of chunk of change to get
Depends
it
on where you go. Depends on where you go. So yeah, because like if you go to a Safe Light or whatever, like John had to have his glass repaired with his Subaru, right? So he puts hundreds of miles. I mean, he's constantly putting hundreds of miles a week. You know, if we ever have like we do a suspension test, we want to do a quick 500 miles to see how things settle down. Let John borrow it for 2 days, right? And so he had to get there. So yeah, they had to do this whole other process. I've got adaptive cruise control on my rig. You know, our glass guy came out, replaced it the same way it's replaced anything else. It was all set to go. He was good to go. It didn't need to be calibrated. It works totally fine. I only ran it to another vehicle once. But no, it didn't. It didn't. He replaced it. He took care of it. He's a professional. He has a great company. But it didn't charge me a lot more labor because he had to deal with the adaptive cruise control. Right.
Well, see, so and I have it on my Gladiator. It doesn't work because, of course, I have a windshield banner.
Yeah, you know, you can move the letters. You can put it where it's not covering it.
Not after it's stuck. You know how hard it is to move those letters after it's already stuck on there?
Just cut a piece out.
So I will. I'll send you a razor blade.
No, then it looks retarded. It looks like
Curtis is making me one now too. So I'm like,
MetalCloak.
Put it on for me.
It'd be MetalCloak. MetalCloak. What
you know what you could do.
Facebook is buying us. We're no longer MetalCloak. We're MetalCloak.
MetalCloak. You could just have those letters that cover it be clear.
Maybe. Although that could affect it still, because 11 millimeter vinyl, right? Could still affect.
What would make the bigger difference if they weren't there at all, or if they were clear? I have a clear.
Why do you even have a windshield banner anyway?
Huh?
Why do you even have a windshield banner?
It blocks the sun from my eyes.
Yeah, that's what we needed. Like, no more of these these vinyl die cut windshield banners. We need to go back to like the big 5-inch tinted banner that goes in. It fits perfectly. The tinted
the
one,
top and at the bottom.
Then have it printed across, right? But then it's just a big printing design, American flag or whatever, tinted, MetalCloak through it, and it's just like 5-6 inches. It just goes over the top of your front. Yeah. That's all you really need.
We should come up with a really cool graphic design and just have your vehicle wrapped with it in clear.
Yeah, totally clear. Like everything.
Only you can see it.
Oh my goodness.
Well, if they can make electrified paint, can they make electrified vinyl?
There you go. Yeah.
There you go.
And I want you have to have like a secret decoder ring or special glasses. You have to wear these 3D glasses and then you can see my wrap.
I think we should just go back to the glow in the dark paint. I'll give you a paintbrush, some glow in the dark paint, do your own design. We'll see what it looks like.
That would be really interesting. Remember the invisible ink that you write it on paper or something and then put it under a black light or whatever. You can do that to somebody's
squeeze
car.
Lemon juice on it. Actually, lemon juice. You could do that. Just write with lemon juice and then heat it up. So you do it to somebody late at night, because if you did it like you're in Death Valley and you did it to somebody like when it's really, really cold and then in the middle of the day it's super hot, it would all come out.
No, you just put handprints on and then say you heard something in the middle of the night.
I like it.
At night, you flash the light on it and you're like, oh my God.
That comes back to our blue light. What?
Right.
Can you imagine having a camp light, like change your UFO camp light to be all blue lights?
Black lights.
Black lights.
Interesting.
Black lights, not blue lights. Black lights. Yeah, black light. Yeah, just have black light going and just change your entire camp. You might see stuff you don't want to see, but
I don't want
everybody wear white.
Scorpion hunting.
Oh, then you just got to do a strobe though.
Right.
Strobe dancing.
Yeah, those are called raves. I think they still do those.
Dude, Death Valley rave, ModernJeeper rave.
We're
doing the ModernJeeper rave. All right,
Yeah,
Death Valley ModernJeeper rave. We're gonna go do it at the. We're gonna do a ModernJeeper rave, and it's gonna be at the Matson Ranch.
Yeah.
Latest issue of the latest issue of, and I think I just got the graphics on it because our guy was a few days late. Of the Rock Lander, the Exciting and Courageous Adventures of Rock Lander. Latest issue of that chapter 1.5, 1.6. He had just arrived in the last chapter. He had just arrived in the Matson ranch. And he's checking things out, and there are some suspicious people around. All of a sudden, he hears a sound. And then into this next chapter is the beginning of the true action hero, where he gets attacked by these bikers, and he doesn't like the outcome.
Interesting.
So check it out. Chapter 1.6. If you want to be on that email and get those chapters every week, go to adventureracksystems.com and sign up under the contact us page. Sign up for email to get the emails, and you will get the first editions of the next chapter of the Exciting and Courageous Adventures of Rock Lander.
Cool.
Oh man. So we've been doing a lot of stuff around here. We're actually doing a lot of installation videos. The installation videos are back. If you guys noticed, we hadn't done installation videos for a while. That's primarily because we were doing a lot of product videos. We have
right.
1,400 products, and we're trying to do a product video for each one of those. And now we're back on installation videos. And so the first one, we'll probably go in here live pretty soon. But the cool thing is we're using the 4xe as the platform. So we've got the 4xe in there, and we're basically putting every product we can, boom, 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 onto the 4xe for repetitive install videos. And the goal is to be at Off-Road Expo to have our 4xe and our Gladiator in the booth. So while you guys are out in Moab playing around with possibly the Overland Expo out there, we're going to be in doing the bringing back to, because we didn't go to the last time,
right,
to Pomona for the Off-Road Expo.
Wow, that'll be kind of crazy. I mean, again, it's a weird time of year. What Jessy keeps saying, it feels like fall's coming early, and then people back here, a lot of places are going back to school and whatnot. But we still have a lot of events going on, and I don't know if it's because of the weather that it makes it feel like fall is coming. It's just been such this crazy, I don't know how to explain it. The last couple of weeks, we had rain in Colorado every day. We've got rain going across the country. We still have some really big events coming up, and now clear through, they're still getting added. It looks like we still will be going to Palo Duro for that event. If people have seen emails and are concerned and have heard about changes being made, it's club stuff. The event is still on, and it's still going to be a huge event.
We made a commitment to be there for the ladies and guide the trail. So we're
absolutely
going to uphold our commitments no matter what drama is going on in any Jeep group.
That's right.
Just how we are.
Yeah.
I don't like drama.
Right.
We're going to have a lot of fun. So.
Yeah, I mean, we got Smoky Mountain coming up, which is one of the biggest shows in the country.
Yes, I'm excited.
Rose coming in is going to play for us at the Hard Rock for the kickoff party. So
nice.
You have to come on out.
Well, I know I'm going to miss the kickoff party because I arrive. I get there 8:30 on Friday morning or something in Knoxville. Then 2 hour, was it hour and a half, 2 hour drive?
Yeah, about that.
Get there, so it should be fun. I tried to get a cool car, but I think I'm going to end up with like a Kia or something.
Maybe they'll give you
maybe it's a new Kia. Some of them look pretty cool.
I got to give you props with that. Yes,
I have to say,
I just
some
went
of them
by
are
a new.
pretty
I
cool.
went by Kia. I'm like, holy crap!
What is that?
who designed that thing? Man,
yeah,
right.
This came from South Korea. No, like wow.
But yeah, so after Pigeon Forge, of course, then we head back across the country. We've got Palo Duro. We've got an event. This new event this year be the first time for a Moab overlanding event, which we still need to reach out to them and see what that's all about. But for the folks that have looked at Easter Jeep Safari in the past and had heard that there was kind of another vendor show going on the same time as Red Rock's event, this is that same group that is doing this overland event out at the Spanish Trail Arena in Moab, and I think that's the end of August or September. Sorry, like the September 29 and October 1st, something like that. So yeah, there's still a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, and we just got an invitation for this is September 10th, I think. I've got to decide if we're going to do it or not, but it's for what is it? Nitto Jeep Bash in Huntington Beach. So the guys that put on Dirt Experience, which is the outcry of JK Experience, which is originally founded by our buddy
Mel.
over at Mel at Evo, they have this event called the Jeep Bash, which is down there in Huntington Beach, and it's like literally the beach whole area is taken over. They got vendors, they've got tons of Jeeps there, and so they reached out to us and said, well, we don't really display, we don't really sell stuff at events, but we got the CTI trailer. So they're kind of looking at it, deciding if that's going to actually something to work, because it looks like most of their Jeeps are sitting stagnant within the parking lot, there's a show and shine going on, and then a vendor show and all this other stuff. So we'll see how it goes. But we're trying to see if we can make that all work, and it'd be cool to go back down. We haven't had the CTI trailer down in SoCal for a little while, so it'd be time to get it out there and just have some fun.
Right on. Yeah, I mean, it's again, I'm going to throw out kind of the things that we've been doing the last couple of weeks, I guess, and things that come to mind. Our rig maintenance program has really been in full force and effect. And when you don't drive your Jeep to events and it sits in the garage, and then you take it back out and you're like, oh yeah, we're gonna go wheeling this weekend, and you pull it out Saturday morning to go wheeling, that's probably not the best time to start going through your rig. After I think we came back from Death Valley with the LJ, and literally parked it in the garage and then pulled it out to go do some pre-running. It's just such bad it's bad juju, because your Jeep is going to hate you. So make sure that you're checking things before you just go off and run out into any trail. And even something like tire pressure can make a huge difference. I'm pretty anal about a lot of things, but we get busy too, and my LJ is one of those rigs that I know it so well that I know that I know where I can push its non-maintenance items a little bit, but at some point those are going to come back around and kind of go, hey, you need to address this. So yeah, just it's still there's still a lot of wheeling left in the season. And as we get ready for some longer trips with our rigs, whether they're overlanding events or, Death Valley's coming up, the Colorado Adventure's coming up, we've got stuff going on, Sierra Trek's coming up. Don't start looking at your rig the day before you go out on the trail.
What do you mean?
That guy that breaks for everybody else.
For 3 years, I raced my Jeep, but I only started fixing it the day before I had to go.
And that's pretty typical.
I would race it for 2 days. I would break it. I'd put it aside. I'd start fixing it, a couple of days before race day. I mean, it worked out fine. I got some plaques on the wall back there. See, you can see, guys, I got some. I won a few things. Cost a lot of money though. And when I realized that the whole world was going a lot more professional, I gave it all up. But yeah, I got a few plaques out of it.
It's funny when we get into our rigs and we go, oh yeah, I was going to fix that. And it can be stupid stuff. It can be something like a windshield wiper. Yeah. It can be something like a switch for your off-road lights that, there's a short in this.
Yeah, it's on your list of things. You don't remember it until you hop in and go, oh, damn it.
Oh, yeah. I needed to do that. That's right. Yeah. I don't know how many times we've jumped into something and gone, oh, that's right, I was going to fix this radio, or I didn't charge this up. I was going to bring my camera. Oh, I mean, it can be so many different things.
I was going to put fuel in it, really.
Yeah. Oh gosh, I'm sure I refilled those diffs.
Did I put the tires back on before I started?
Right? Oh, did I air up again? Did I not?
I did air up. Yeah. Mm-hmm. No.
Yeah. Don't be that guy.
Don't be that guy. Also, you check your equipment, because you don't want to be the guy who shows up to the trail and be like, "Oh yeah, my power tank is empty. Can I borrow your air, please?" Or you're forgetting your air down tool and having to borrow it from somebody else, and just be prepared.
All of that stuff. I mean, yeah, we typically are really good about making sure things are in tip-top shape, but we all get busy, and if you don't make a list and the things don't get checked off, being home actually was detrimental. We were home for a couple of weeks, and then I kept thinking, well, I had all kinds of time, and I'll have time, and then all of a sudden it's the day before, and I'm throwing everything into a bag, going, okay, I think we're good. Like, we need to plan better.
Negative Ghost Rider. Yeah, you got to plan. Planning is good. Planning is good.
Yes.
Planning makes the world go around. Spontaneous activity is always good too, but don't do that in the Jeep world, because you might end up being the one who needs to get pulled or stuck, or maybe you're in a position where you could be saving somebody's life and you didn't bring your tools because you didn't plan.
You know, we love our power tanks, and you brought up a good point. We have 3 power tanks sitting in the garage. Every single one of them's empty because the place that fills our power tanks exploded, caught on fire, and burned down. There are no other places on the
At least it
western
didn't
slope of
explode
Colorado.
while your power tanks were in there.
This is true.
Yeah.
Or if I was welding, because it's at the welding shop that I was going to class for too.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Yeah.
So there are no places on the western slope of Colorado that you can fill a power tank. So they become really interesting bricks sitting in your garage, and you realize how much money you've spent on them. So I don't know, just a shout out.
There's got to be an alternative to that. There's got to be a
solution. There's a place in Denver.
No, I'm just talking about filling, like a way of filling, like a way of building, like the pressure within there by, I don't know,
Seems really unsafe.
It seemed, yeah. I didn't even say what I was going to say.
And it's really hard for us to like pack all 3 of them and go get them filled while we're across the country, because we're so packed with everything else. So
yeah,
it's not
it's easy. You just put it in a self mailer, right? Because the self-addressed stamped envelope with it, self mailer off to power tank. They fill it up and send it back to you.
And it's not like anybody's busy, so you can go in there and just stand there while they fill it, which I've never found a place that has done that. Actually, there used to be a place in Moab back in the day that he would fill it while you. But again, if all of a sudden now, if you're that company, you've got a line of 60 people standing there. No, drop them off. We'll fill them for you, and come back in a week, and you can pick it up.
Well, and it's interesting having a place that fills them specifically because, like, they're an off-road shop or whatever. There's a place over here we get our stuff filled, and it's a fire extinguisher type company. Right. So they calibrate everything. Like, they won't just sink and fill it up. Like, they go through the process of calibrating. Like they have to fill it up properly. They, they're not just a little shop. They're just like, oh yeah, I got some of that. I'll fill it up for you. They got to do it properly so that it's safe. And then it's all stickered, identified as being filled up and properly calibrated. It's an interesting process. So
the place in Denver we found is a place we heard about. They're actually a bartending, like a bar supply shop that does taps and things like that. So yeah.
Oh, interesting.
Well, yeah, shout out to Steve. He needs to invest in some other folks on the western slope to be able to fill a power tank.
Please.
That's right. Power tank filling stations across the country.
Just like a
self-service.
Jeep, right? Like a Tesla plug-in place. You have a power tank fill station.
Yeah, just like like those places outside of the supermarkets where you just put a bottle in and you just self-serve water. Just like a little place outside of a 4 Wheel Parts, you just walk in there, you put your bottle in, closes it self-fills up, and pull it out. Right?
They could do like a propane cylinder where you swap it, but nobody wants to get rid of their own color and stuff. So I don't know how you do that.
Well, it's an interesting thing. Imagine having a line of power tanks that were that way, though. Like these are just the swaps. They're nothing more. They're not fancy. They don't color match. They're simply swaps. There's you can go in, drop it off. Because I thought about that too. It's like it's kind of a pain in the ass. Like, well, how much is in here? Well, I've got enough maybe for 2 fill-ups. Maybe. Do I really want to go and just get the whole thing filled up back again? It's not like you drive up to drive your RV up to a propane, have them just fill up that extra 3/4, right? It's like, all right, do I really want to do, or do I want to use it? I can use it a little bit, right? Yeah, it's interesting.
I mean,
But yeah, Steve, if you're listening,
I
we're willing to back you on your nationwide CO2 exchange campaign.
Well, and I heard now that there's actually a shortage of CO2, just kind of like DEF and everything else we're going to run out of. So all the pop and soda machines and stuff, everything's going to be flat.
And
How do you run out of CO2?
It's a byproduct of other things. So I don't know, and they're talking about it in the news, and I don't know.
So it turns out we're going to run out of oxygen too. By the way,
right? No more oxygen.
Stop breathing.
Yeah. We're just going to have nitrogen in the air.
Yeah.
Which is what we're going to fill our tires with anyway, right?
Right. Does that mean we're going to be? Oh, that's hydrogen. That's hydrogen, nitrogen. Yeah. I think I'd rather have hydrogen in the air. Then we all just be talking really high.
Maybe.
You know, I will say I gotta say that I this is not against Powertank at all. It just happens to be where we live in the world. And I know there's a lot of places out there that people can get their Powertanks filled right away, and they are taken care of and serviced. But I will say that for us, you know, it's when I need to put air when we're traveling. I gotta tell you, the best thing on that LJ is the ARB Twin that I can, it's sitting on the trailer. I can start up the LJ, plug in a hose. I can put air in the truck tires, in the trailer tires, in the Jeep tires. It works phenomenally. And I put 95 PSI in the trailer tires, and the ARB doesn't even blink. So, and all I got to do is start it.
Right. And I, you know, for years, our primary for all of our Jeeps was the power plant from Warn.
Right.
Which was a pretty good. It took a long time, but it was good to know you always had it there. You just go in there and you'd fill up, and it'd take a little while. And I kind of got jealous of the guys that had the power tanks because they were done in like 10 minutes. You know, and I'm sitting there going
super fast,
you know, trying to fill it up. And now the flip side of that is I could have got an auxiliary tank. You get an auxiliary tank, and then that fills up and actually makes it a lot faster.
You know, I think at some point somebody ought to make a competitive product to ARB's Twin.
Nah, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to make something that's not plastic and doesn't have plastic bladder and plastic pieces inside? And why would you want to do that? Because they last. Those ARB's Twins, they last for a very long time.
They do. I mean, I've only had mine rebuilt a couple of times. I mean, it's fine.
That's nothing. It's it's okay. I mean, Chinese made products are okay for you. All right. Hey, you know, this has been another great episode of the Modern Jeeper Show. Anything you guys have before we wrap up this this amazing episode?
No, just keep thinking about the size of those hotels if we were sleeping standing up.
No. So think about the number of products we thought about this. We had a few things that we new like conventions all this episode.
Right.
This is the idea show.
Jessy has something, I think.
Yes, Jessy.
So, all you ladies out there, guys, husbands, I know you guys listen to us and you have your significant other, and they want to learn what you do so they can drive. So, Ladies Off-Road Network, they have announced their 6th annual convention, which is now going to be in Moab, Utah.
Wow.
On October 12th through the 15th. I am signed up. There's awesome classes. You will have the best time ever. So I encourage you husbands, boyfriends out there that are listening, please get your ladies in. LadiesOffRoadNetwork.com. Register, sign up. Come on out and have some fun and learn. Absolutely.
Yes, that'd be awesome. What about us that don't identify? Like, you know, they, thems, are they invited?
Well, sometimes you have to talk to Charlene. I bet you can butter her up and, you know, come as a guest speaker.
Your stick figure family?
Yeah.
Yes. Me and my stick figure family would like to be there. That's awesome. And well done. Congratulations, Charlene, to move to Moab. It's kind of interesting because most people are like, they're all moving to Sand Hollow and stuff, and she chooses to move to Moab. Yeah.
Right? Old school.
Yeah, old school. Yeah, I mean, when real estate prices are just like sickening.
Yeah, very sickening.
Sickening. All right, my friends. Well, thank you so much for all of you out there listening to us. We always appreciate it. You know how to get a hold of us. Matson at MetalCloak.com, Corey at MetalCloak.com, Jessy at MetalCloak.com. Of course, reaches out and find us at ModernJeeperAdventures.com, ModernJeeper.com for all the news and fun information. And of course, ModernJeeperShow.com. And check out this. If you're listening to this, make sure you subscribe and give us a nice feedback and give us a nice shout out. We really appreciate it. And if you're watching this on YouTube, hit that subscribe button.
Hit that subscribe button and go to ModernJeeper.com, because if you hadn't been there lately, you may have seen things weren't changing and that kind of stuff. But that's all been fixed now. So go to ModernJeeper.com. Check it out.
That's right. We had a little technical wafu, so we didn't hear about it from you guys. So you obviously don't care about us, but we care about us.
That's right.
So check it out. All right. With all that being said, friends, we'll see you on the trails.
Cheers.
See ya.